Good evening, everybody. This is Silver Busters, and what we had a request for is one of my most popular videos would be to come back to it and to just revisit the topic here of carbon 60. It was just pointed out to me by a commenter that it has been 3 years since I started taking carbon 60. And so what I'm going to do is kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown of what carbon 60 is, what kind of positive effects I experienced from it, and then just kind of give you a breakdown of what other things I might be taking, just so you can try to sort out what from what. But as to what carbon 60 is, it is simply just the element carbon. And there's a little bit of a representation of it here. It's carbon in the shape of a soccer ball, kind of like they're called buckyballs, Buckminster fullerenes. It's a architectural form that was I think his name was Buckminster Fuller, and it was something that he was famous for constructing, not the element, but the form for architecture. But what carbon 60 is said to do for individuals when it's taken in the form of an oil, the oil is just basically a delivery mechanism so that it will actually be absorbed by your body, is that it's a high power antioxidant is one of the theories. But basically the reason why this theory even got started was carbon 60 was a relatively recent invention, so they had to do toxicity studies on carbon 60 if they were going to use it in any products. At the time, they weren't looking at it for medical purposes. They were looking at it as some sort of part of an industrial process, like a lubricant or something like that. So what they did is they had to do a toxicity study, which is basically you feed it to your test subjects, which in this case were rats, in ever increasing amounts in order to try to figure out what negative effects might be had and what, if any, is a lethal dose. You know, how many parts per million can you tolerate before you start seeing negative effects or having some of the rats croak. And really the exciting thing was about this test case was that the rats actually lived longer than they were supposed to. And actually, the study had to be ended by killing the rats. They didn't actually manage to kill them with carbon 60, or at the point that they did, they were using such a high amount that if you were injected with a similar amount of water, you wouldn't be expected to live. So that's where the excitement around carbon 60 got started. You had these experiments with the rats, and the rats lived way longer than they should, almost twice as long. And so certain enterprising individuals started, having individuals take it. And of course, there is no FDA approval. This is all just, and it's not even called a supplement. The people who sell it don't even slap any claims on the side of it because they're afraid of having their asses sued back again and back and forth. But here I am with 3 years of taking this stuff, to let you know that, I am not dead, far from it. Actually feel pretty good, despite everything that's been going on in the world. And so that's the story behind carbon 60. What I've got here is just a brand that I've been taking for 3 years. I'm not affiliated with these folks. I don't get paid if you buy their stuff. I don't really care what brand you buy. I bought this because this was the cheapest thing I could find, and at the time I was buying it on Amazon. They do offer it on Amazon, but if you're buying in bulk, 3 to 6 bottles or more of the stuff, there's actually a discount when you get it off of their website directly. So so for the last few orders, I've been getting it that way. So whatever you're more comfortable with, if you want to start with one bottle and just, pick it off of Amazon, because Amazon has, the hundreds of reviews of people who have been taking it. And so you might feel a little bit more comfortable that, you can read the horrible reviews and the positive reviews. And you know what? Last time I checked, and I'll admit it's been a long time, the only negative reviews I got was about the taste. And I guess that's just because the taste is not actually of the carbon 60. The taste is of whatever olive oil, whatever state the olive oil is in. And sometimes, and it's weird. It's not really consistent. Sometimes I'll take, a teaspoon is what I take as a serving of carbon 60, and sometimes it'll go down no problems. I take it first, and then I wash it down with my vitamins afterwards, because it's not a good taste by any means. But every once in a while, I don't know if I'll just hit it in the right spot. I'll just get this real peppery kind of flavor, and it turns some people off, and I don't know why. It's medicine. It's not supposed to taste good. So there's that. So if you do need to prepare yourself to for a not pleasant tasting substance, but it goes down quick. And like I said, I take it before I take my other vitamins. And so what does the carbon 60 actually do for you? Well, I mentioned that it was a antioxidant, and basically the whole theory is that carbon is a very flexible atom, especially carbon arranged in this sort of pattern that it's in. Carbon as an element is unique. Well, not completely unique, but it is in a unique spot in the periodic table where it will complete its charged electron shell, reaching way back into college and high school physics here for a moment. You can fill the electron shell of carbon either by adding or removing 4 electrons from it, and it will complete, one shell or 2 by doing that. So it can make a lot of different bonds, and one thing it can do is track down free radicals within your body. Free radicals are electrons that have been cast off or absorbed in the form of radiation or something that's degraded inside your body, or cosmic rays, something like that. Anyway, it's something that's inside your body. One of the biggest producers of free radicals is actually the oxidation process going on inside your mitochondria. And so these buckyballs, the carbon 60 molecules, are actually able to absorb or donate electrons as necessary, and that's one of the theoretical ways that this assists you. The other thing is that carbon 60, being in the form that it is able to go through your cell walls and actually get into the mitochondria, where you have the oxidation process going on within your cells. That's your energy production centers inside your cells. So basically, it can get to where it can do the best work. There's also some sort of way where a hydrogen atom, especially a hydrogen atom with a hydrogen ion with some sort of charge, may become entangled with carbon 60 and actually stay within that structure and either be removed from where it's not good for you or be placed where it would be good for you to put you back into balance. And that's why some people suggest that it's good to take certain foods that will produce hydrogen when they're broken down within your body. I think apples was one of the things I heard recommended by Cliff High a long time ago. But like I said, I'm just rehashing what I've heard a long time. I'm already sold on it. I started taking it 3 years ago, and I wouldn't give it up. Basically, I had a few health issues. I was coming off a nasty case of pneumonia. I was in my early 30s, but I was working in a stressful job, kind of felt dead end. I was still living at home at the time, and though I was contributing, I wasn't in the best mental health state either, I could say, not that I was giving up on anything, but it just wasn't a pleasant time in my life before I started taking carbon 60, and my health degraded. And I caught pneumonia, and I don't know what I caught it from. I may have been vitamin D deficient at the time. I don't think I was taking much, if any, kind of vitamins. I may have taken a multivitamin off and on, but I really was not supplementing, and I probably wasn't getting the basic level of exercise that I should have because it was a work from home kind of job, and it was a pretty stressful kind of job. You were paid just for the work you completed. It was an hourly job. You were getting paid literally by the character of what you managed to produce. So that's what I attested to, that I kind of felt like I was in a dead end job, and I was working really hard to try to compensate for the fact that I was in a dead end job. And I think that really helped degrade my health. But anyway, I started looking into things that might be able to help, and came across carbon 60. It was heard about it through Cliff High, and I said, what the hell? I'm going to take it. And so there was a period of time, I would say for that first year, I was only really taking a generic kind of multivitamin, what you would get, a Centrum or a Walmart equivalent of a multivitamin. Sometimes I would have the adult formula, and sometimes I would have like the Men's Health formula. And one of the things that was revealed by catching pneumonia when they brought me into the hospital is I had some sort of inflammatory response, autoimmune response around my heart. And basically I thought, well, hey, this carbon 60 thing is supposed to target inflammation. So that's one of the things I did right away afterwards. I said, like, hey, this is an autoimmune response. When you have this, it's not actually a heart problem. It is a problem with the sac, which fills up with fluid, which is supposed to protect your heart from other threats. And that's what inflammation is. It's your body it's what your body does when it's trying to defend itself. But if it does it too often, it's ultimately self-destructive. So you ultimately want to reduce inflammation and get rid of nasty things other ways, to have the proper immune response instead of an over-response by your immune system that ends up damaging you. So I'm like, hey, this fits the bill. I also looked into, I think, what was it, cumin? And some other things that were called anti-inflammatories. But those were giant horse pills, and I really just didn't get into it. So I'd say for about the first 2 years, I was taking strictly carbon 60 and the multivitamin. And I got a new job, and that had a little bit higher of an activity level and mainly just more walking. And I'd say overall that was a great help to my health too. But the carbon 60 really helped cut down on the inflammation. I have not had any kind of illness that I would normally used to have periodically, usually at the same time every year. And whenever I would get sick, that autoimmune response and the triggering of the fluid around my heart would just make it that much worse. And to be perfectly honest, I can't even recall getting the sniffles. I have not gotten a cold. I have not gotten the flu. I have not gotten the cerveza sickness. I can't actually say the word because I want YouTube to actually, post this video and get it out to people. And if you would, like and subscribe to my channel. I am kind of getting re-motivated to work on my YouTube channel with recent events that have been starting up. And so you would actually be helping me out a great deal if you would like and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to put out information about this. Also, my main thing is I cover silver, precious metal markets, and alternative investing in general. Maybe some history-based stuff, because that's actually another area of my education is in silver. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to my channel. So basically, what we were looking at here is, just for that whole first year, I'd say Even in the 2 years, I just saw better sleep was the first thing immediately right away. I don't know if it was just clearing up my airways, if I had less inflammation in my airways, and that led to better sleep. Vivid dreams. You would have much more vivid dreams when you're taking carbon 60, at least initially. I would say I didn't dream at all prior to, or very rarely, I would say, prior to taking carbon 60. And that has come back quite a bit since I started taking carbon 60, but mainly better sleep, better quality sleep also, is that I have a hard time sleeping in. Now, part of it is maybe because I'm more disciplined with going to sleep and waking up on schedule, but I really think I'm getting a lot better REM sleep since I've been taking the carbon 60, and I notice it right away. It's like I would wake up an hour and a half, an hour, half an hour, reliably early compared to before I was taking carbon 60. And so I just kind of summarize that as much better quality of sleep. And, your body only really heals when it's sleeping. So if you're getting better quality sleep, your body is going to do a better job of healing itself, regardless of whatever else is going on within your body. So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect is the anti-inflammatory aspect. And like I said, I have not gotten any kind of minor illness. I mean, I'll get the occasional pressure headache, but I attribute that to changing of like when a front blows through here in Texas, a rapid change in the barometric pressure, or just allergies. And I wouldn't say they're bad, but I'll get a pressure headache every once in a while. Then it hasn't eliminated those entirely, but it's I don't really find a whole lot of reason to go get ibuprofen very often, or any kind of over-the-counter painkillers or any kind of that stuff, because I just don't get sick the way I used to. Used to be, I would remember having to power through days at work with ibuprofen, working sick because I wasn't necessarily that high up on the corporate ladder, and you might be able to take some sick time off, but you're probably not going to get paid for it. And being in the position I was, it would be better to be working than not working, so you just kind of had to power through. Now those kind of days are very rare, and it's more like the pressure headaches usually kind of hit me in the evening when I come home, and maybe I take it some, so I would go to sleep. But like I said, very rare, and I attribute a lot of that to the carbon 60. The other part of the reduced inflammation is I used to have a little annoying problem with my hip. I'm a little bit overweight, I would say. Probably if you saw me, you'd say more than a little bit overweight. But I never let that stop me. I mean, I'm functionally healthy. I'm functionally all there. And I'm a big guy. I'm about 6'2" and over 300 pounds. But that's improving, and that's part of what I wanted to get into, is that I did end up getting promoted in my job, and that ended up allowing me to cut a lot of commute time. We're talking like 2 hours a day out of my schedule. And so I'm like, I'm going to reinvest some of that some of that commute time into myself. So I've kind of got a pattern in the morning every day where I started doing some physical, just very basic strength exercises. I'll have one day, and at first all I did was push-ups, in addition to the walking I would do at work, and riding a stationary bike, a recumbent bicycle stationary. And I did that for 6 months or a year, something like that. And I went from like being able to do 3 very sad push-ups to being able to do 20 or 25 sad push-ups. And some of that was just I needed to do strength training. I don't know if I can attribute it directly to carbon 60, but I was putting myself through physical stress and Didn't hurt me. Let's put it that way. And then I'm like, well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing my exercise bike. I'm doing my push-ups. Let's broaden it out. And so I added squats. I'll have one day where I do squats, and then I'll have a day where I do core exercises, like do half a sit-up and try to hold it as long as I can, and do that 3 times. And then I got more of a kind of a total body workout by alternating those on days, and then giving myself a rest day after I finish the set of 3. And then I would just repeat that, most of the time, unless I had a real crazy day. Like there's some days I have to wake up early for work and maybe I don't get those, but I'm reliably going through this cycle of squats, push-ups, sit-ups, or kind of the half sit-up, hold, and then cardio on my days off. And what I started doing, I guess the core exercises, I started doing fewer push-ups, but I was able to do the real high quality push-ups. I can feel like I've got my back lined up. I'm not arching my back. I'm doing almost, way more body weight on my push-ups, and the all the way up and all the way down. And so basically, because I'm a bigger guy, I'm getting way more weight in on these push-ups. And now maybe all I can do is a dozen of them, but I'm burning out when I do the sets. I do as many as I can. And whether this has a lot to do with carbon 60 or not, I can't tell you for sure. It was me reinvesting in myself, and I was able to do it without feeling stressed out, and I'm rested enough in the morning, and I had the time. So I want to say there was a contribution there, but I can't really say for sure. But I'm not quite 40 yet, and I was able to improve my physical condition with basic exercises and a little bit of effort on my part in the carbon 60, I would say. Other thing I did add, I was talking, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, I had the issue with my hip. Just a nagging issue with my hip. Just a little tingle in there to let you know all the time, hey, there's a little pain, and I would get the creaks and pops and creaks and pops. I did end up adding a simple glucosamine, chondroitin kind of joint health supplement, just what you would pick up off the shelf at Walmart. That whatever I had left, whatever little creaks and pops I had left, that has helped even more with knocking that out. And before, it used to be painful. The carbon 60 really reduced the pain and the inflammation, but I can still feel it there structurally. And then I really feel that the glucosamine and chondroitin goes in there and is actually providing the lubrication and makes it even less noticeable. So I'm really happy about that area. And then I did start taking some other supplements with the rise of the cerveza sickness. And cerveza sickness is a code, and so I'm going to trust that you folks are smart people and can translate what cerveza sickness is so that you know what I'm talking about. But I want this to actually get out. So I'm not going to actually say the words, but when the cerveza sickness, in the prelude leading up to the cerveza sickness, I ordered a bunch of vitamins because, I was listening to people who were actually trying to fix the problem instead of trying to manipulate the government and economy for their own purposes. And it turns out vitamin D, the really generic vitamin D, is a really good preventer of basic kind of infections that you might get. A really great booster for your immune system. So I'm taking some generic vitamin D. Of course, I got vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C, which is the fat soluble, which is much easier to absorb from your body. The one thing I actually did that made myself sick is I ordered the bulk vitamin C powder. And I guess I had the bright idea of saying, hey, I'll put this in my my Kool-Aid and I'll just double up on my vitamin C. Turns out that's an acid, and that's not good for you. And if you do overdo it, I didn't think I was overdoing it. I was putting like a little teaspoon of it in, not a whole teaspoon, even like the tip of the teaspoon. But I ended up giving myself heartburn real bad with the absorbic acid style bulk powder vitamin C. And so I'm sticking with the liposomal vitamin C in the pill form, which is fat soluble and has not bothered my stomach at all. The one time I actually go to the doctor, I end up making myself sick with the vitamin C powder. So I got heartburn and had to take some over-the-counter heartburn medicine for a few days. But that's really the only time in 3 years I can remind myself of being sick, besides the occasional pressure headache for allergies or the change of the weather. And I did it to myself. Also picked up some vitamin B complex, and the part that I read about that is that it was supposed to help with the cycline. I can't even pronounce it. The cycline storm. If you get the mucus in your lungs from having upper respiratory infection. But B vitamins are good for you anyway, and they give me a little energy boost in the morning. Big thing for me is I cut out caffeine. I know some of you probably love caffeine, but you guys probably might not have the sensitivity to it that I did. I was a big coffee drinker for a long time, and turns out that little 9 of between my shoulder blades and my back is from too much caffeine. And I was probably hitting the coffee way harder than I should. I switched to decaf, mainly just decaf tea at this point, and whatever little lingering issue with my heart is now completely gone. Before it used to hurt, the carbon 60, it used to bother me a lot. And after cutting out the caffeine, I don't notice it at all. It's like I am in perfect health in that regard. So that's just me. I'm not recommending that you have to cut out caffeine, but if you have some kind of problem similar to me, you might consider trying it. I can still handle a little, but I use it sparingly. I treat caffeinated beverages the way other people might, the way other responsible people might treat wine. So I will have a little something here and there, but overall not that much. But that is it, really, is that, health-wise, I'm in good shape. I'm engaged to get married to a pretty gal. I've gotten promoted at work. Listen, this isn't a magical thing. You're not going to get all this stuff just by taking carbon 60, but it certainly helped. If I had I was not in pain, I was in the right mindset, and the carbon 60 definitely helped. So, and there's room to go. I could still lose some weight. I could still get better with my basic workout to expand it. But overall, I'm pretty happy, and I would not give up the carbon 60 for anything at this point. I'm really thrilled with it, and I think it's going to have some kind of long-term health benefit in terms of just general life extension, the same way it helped out with the El Ratos in the studies. But that's kind of my 3-year update with the carbon 60. If you've got any questions about what I take a teaspoon. I take this brand, Good and Cheap carbon 60 olive oil. Originally got it off of Amazon, and now I get it off their website because it's cheaper there. Have not tried other brands. I have sent other brands to my fiance, but I chose my brand strictly on price. I was not worried about the brand name at all. So, and like I said, I am not contracted with them. I don't get money if you buy from them. I have no affiliation with them. So if you end up getting it from these guys, great. If you get it from someone else, that's great too. I'm just doing it because I think it's great, and I think other people should know about it. And some people requested an update on 3 years of taking carbon 60. So I wanted to oblige And yeah, that's it, really. Carbon 60, I'd recommend it. I take a teaspoon. If you're older, you might take more. But I recommend it. I think you'll see positive health benefits from it. And if you have any questions, ask me in the comments. I'll do my best to answer based on my experience. This has been Silver Busters, and I'm going to take it easy for the rest of the evening. Hope you're doing well in these interesting times, and I'll see you later. Bye.